Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the Unofficial Commentators podcast. This week, we're going to focus on Week 6 of the League of Haters Fantasy Football League. And as always, your host, me, J98. And on the other side, all the way from Santo Domingo, I have Paki. Paki, what can we expect this week?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. As always, the Unofficial Commentators podcast is on the air every Thursday morning for your enjoyment on Podomatic.com and the video version on YouTube. Feel free to add the podcast to your favorites and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Unofficial Commentators. And as always, don't forget to comment and email us any questions or suggestions at unofficialcommentators@gmail.com. Links are in the show notes. Now, let's get right to it, man. What's up, Jay?
What's up, man? It's October, one of my favorite times of the year, man. It's fall. People start wearing sweaters, and there's so much stuff to do. Speaking of which, man, tell me what you've been doing this week. People need to catch up on what you've been up to since last podcast.
Not many sweaters here in the DR, man. It's always hot. It's always cool. As a matter of fact, I'm under a little tropical rainstorm right now, but it's all good, man. I'm going to be on the radio, local radio on Friday, talking some football, as we always do. 92.5, it should be fun. Besides that, man, I'm just excited about the baseball playoffs. The Mets lost. That was very unfortunate. They lost during our recording last week of the podcast, but they are extremely exciting this week, man. We got the Game 5 versus the Dodgers and Nationals. I'm definitely going to watch that after we record this. And I cannot lie, man. I had a great time watching the Cubs and San Francisco Giants series. That was awesome, bro.
That was a really good series, man. I thought the Dodgers had this in a bag. The Nationals really came back, man.
It's going to be fun to see what's going to happen today. I honestly have no idea who's going to win out of them two. But it looks like the Cubs' magical season is coming together, man. That's going to be fun to watch. I can't wait.
Who you got in the series?
Well, the Cubs already beat the Giants. I'm going to buy in the Cubs' magical story, man. I have to. I think the Cubs are going to beat whoever wins from the Dodgers and the Nets. But today, I think
they play from the American League.
I think the Nationals should win today, so I'm probably going to beat Cubs and Nationals. On the American League, Toronto got that crazy hitting, but Cleveland got the pitching. I would love to see Cleveland go to the finals, man, so it won't be just basketball for them. Yeah, man. They deserve it.
Hey, it's all coming together. We know they're not counting on any real football team this year.
The Browns are horrible. They deserve something, man.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, not today, but at some point we got to talk about if the Browns should just call it quits and rebrand the entire team.
They should move to the CFL, to the Canadian Football League.
Well, on this side of town, man, it's October, like I said. Not long ago, I came over from Oktoberfest.
Nice.
My little mug here.
There's an Oktoberfest here in the DR on Saturday, by the way, which I probably will be there.
Hey, man, plug that in there. Tell everybody you're going to be there. Sign some autographs.
Yeah, definitely.
This last Friday, I was at Comic-Con, too, New York Comic-Con. Pretty cool, man, pretty cool. It was on par with the other Comic-Con I went to a couple of years ago. And it's getting big. It's so big that they had to move a lot of the events. Normally, it was done in Javits Center. Mm-hmm. This year, there was Javits Center, Hammerstein Ballroom, and MSG Theater just all happening at the same time. I wish I could clone myself, use one of those cloning machines I saw at the Comic-Con and be in all three places at once. But it's all cool, man. It's all gravy. So let's jump into this week's awards.
Let's go, man. I wonder when am I going to win a trophy? I want a trophy one of these days.
Yeah, trophies. You sound like Drake right now. All right, so the Week 5 awards. The top scorer this week was F.U. Ben Affleck, or FIBA as I like to call him. He led the way with 153.7 points. The lowest scorer this year was El Chef Joel with Joe Bebo Sportiman, 74.2 points. It's like, did he even start a team? What's going on there? 74 points. I mean, I played against a team with a 0 and a 1, and they still ended up scoring more than 74 points. The biggest blowout by far was the team that played against Jobebo Fortimal. It was So Loyal Action Boss. He wasn't the highest scorer this week, but he did blow out Jobebo Fortimal by 71.9 points. That may be the biggest blowout of all the biggest blowouts. The narrowest win goes to Amari 2600. He wins by 2.9 points, and he also gets the favorable matchup, or as you call it, the lucky award. This team would have lost to 10 other teams that were playing in the Fantasy League this week, Nonetheless, he played against yours truly, and he ended up the victor. So, top fantasy performer this year was David Johnson. Congratulations, Paki.
Yes, I only have a top
pretty
performer.
Much, It's not really an award, but we'll give it to you anyway, man. We'll give you an E for effort.
I deserve it. I don't care.
Effort.
I've been through too
much. I make a bigger effort trying to pass some turds, man. Anyway, it was 27 carries, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a total of 31 fantasy points. An amazing performance from David Johnson. David Johnson, of course, was playing without his starting quarterback, Carson Palmer.
I said a side note, I'll say it now. I'm starting to see a trend. Whenever you have a running back playing with a backup quarterback, start that running back. No matter how bad he is or good, he's going to get a lot of fantasy points. It's proven.
Does it really apply here, though? I mean, you played David Johnson.
Yeah, you were going to play him anyway, but it applied with Artis Payne. It applied with what's his name? The one from the Browns. Shoot, it escaped my name. Crowell.
Crowell?
Yeah, it happened with Crowell, and it happened with.
He's a starter. He's going to start no matter what.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, they're gonna get like more points. Like, it's an obvious start, even more. Like,
I mean, tell me, Asiata, McKinnon, those guys.
Yeah, but they don't. They don't
have
a backup quarterback. When they were going through
their whole little transition.
It happened. It happened with which one else? I know I had another one.
Bottom line, man, you need to work on that theory. It doesn't seem like you put too much thought into it.
It's not a theory. It's a fact. It's a fact. It's proven. I had a few other ones that I just had them in the top of my head. You can keep talking. I'll remember while you talk. Let's see.
Well, the next topic I want to talk about is our picks, man. We're in a season-long contest. We started last week in week 4. So far, I had the lead. I had picked 2 of the winners. You picked 1, so it was only a narrow lead.
Yeah.
This week, I picked 4 winners. I had Victor's team. I forget what he called it this week. He changes it up like twice a week. I had the week 2 133.88. I had So Loyal and Brady's Girly Men. So that's 4 picks for me. That brings my grand total to 6.
All right, man. I got actually just 4 this week. I'm just very disappointed I picked Real City Butterflies, bro. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, in hindsight, yeah, I know they lost whatever, but shit, man. I really regret picking that one. I regret picking that one. I don't care, man. Whatever. But I got 4. That's a lot better than last week. I'm down by 1, but we'll keep it going.
So you got 4 to add to your 1. I got 4 to add to my 2. That brings your total of 5. My total of 6. So far, it looks like you're buying dinner, man.
Yeah.
All right.
More fantasy to go.
Quickly transitioning to the results for week 5. We're going to be talking about the first matchup. We have Hyde the Blunt, as he's known nowadays, against the Rainy Oriental Steelers. Last week they were called Pájaro Palpote. So kick it off, man. The winner in this week's matchup was...
Clearly, Darrow is going to change his team name every week to troll whoever he's playing. Just to let everybody know, the name Rainy Oriental Steelers has to do with the fact that he's playing me this week. I am the coach of the Crows, and we lost 2 games in the season to the Oriental Steelers in the rain. So we clearly weren't able to beat them in the rain. So now he's trying to troll me with it. But going straight to this matchup, Hyde the Blunt. God, I hate that guy. I don't know why. Why do I hate him, Jay? I hate this guy. But he won. He won by a lot. Andrew Luck.
I need to remind you why you hate him?
No. Andrew Luck looking good with nice 21.2 points. Poor guy has no help, but he keeps putting up the numbers. I just feel sorry for him, man. But impressive performance from Carlos Hyde versus Arizona. Definitely a surprise there because Arizona is supposed to be a top defense, and that team, as the Panthers, are in total meltdown. It's very nice that he got a full double-digit scoring from his wide receivers and his tight end Martellus Bennett, 27.7. Brady's back, so that's going to be a valuable tight end to have. This tight end duo of Bennett and Gronkowski reminds me kind of like Gronk and Hernandez. I see a whole bunch of fantasy points for both of them. So solid performance over 144 points, man. That's hard to beat.
Keep that man's name out of your mouth, sir.
Man, I'm talking fantasy. I'm not talking anything else. I don't care.
And it's Martellus, by the way. I don't know who Martellius is.
Martellus. It's my accent. I'm sorry.
Listen, I don't know that it would have mattered over on the Pájaros Balbote side. It wouldn't have mattered if he got all his bye-week people back. It wouldn't have mattered had he started Andy Dalton, which you should probably always start over Eli Manning, at least in fantasy. I understand that you're a fan, but, I mean, it was a favorable matchup. He was going up against Dallas. They don't have any kind of defense you want to write home about. Everything else was just absolutely pedestrian, man, and that's kind of a word that I'm using often to describe this team. A single digits at quarterback. Lamar Miller did nothing. Golden Tate, I think it's time to drop him, man. I mean, he's not doing anything. Over the last few weeks, he's giving you absolutely nothing. It's clear that Marvin Jones is the standout guy there. 7 points, 2 points, 5, 2 points, and another 6 for Golden Tate. As I'll borrow from another podcast, welcome to Dumpsville, man. Get him out of here. Your best scorer was Devontae Freeman. You know, if you want a better home for Mr. Devontae Freeman, and he needs a home at this point because your team is just so sad, why not trade him to me?
I'll take him too, man.
Absolutely, there's nothing you could have done here, man. Just call it a season. I don't know what you're going to do. There's no rhyme or reason to this team. I don't know what they could possibly do to get any better. And to make matters worse, Jordan Reed did not have a great performance, and now he's on concussion protocol, so you might lose him for some time. If he doesn't retire, because the stat I heard is that he's had, it's probably his 5th concussion since his college years. Mm-hmm. That is not good. Well, nothing else to see here, man. Cover that body up. Hyde the Blunt just destroyed whatever his team was back then, Pájaros Balbote.
I remember
Pay reverence to Hyde the Blunt.
I chose them in my pick. I chose Pájaros Balbote in my pick strictly because of the team name, but I did put the disclaimer. Logic says to go with Hyde the Blunt, and definitely he obviously won. But I don't regret that one because I still love that name. I love the name, so I don't regret it.
We'd have been tied right now, but it's a funny name. All right, let's move on to the next matchup, and let's not kill too much time. Let's kind of fly through these. So Loyal Action Boss versus Yo Bebo Fortiman. Tell me what So Loyal did this week.
Derek Carr is a top 5 fantasy football quarterback right now, bro. I believe he's ranked number 3 in scoring. I don't have the specific number, but talk about Derek Carr. I mean, that's awesome the way this guy's playing and bringing the Raiders back, and also doing a great job for So Loyal's Action Boss's team. On top of that, you have double-digit score through all of his offensive players. The only one that didn't get double digits was his flex, which was Terrence West versus the Redskins, which is a great start anyways. And he didn't get double digits because he stayed at 9.9. Again, 146 total fantasy points. Not much else to say, but a total team effort here to bring him to that victory, man, which was an ass whooping.
12 points by his kicker does not hurt. He won a week ago without a kicker for 12 points this week. On the Yo Bebo Fortiman side, man, I'm getting all the people that there's nothing to say anything about. You know, it was a poor performance from everyone on the New York Jets. Matt Forte was no exception. Aaron Rodgers. I don't even know what to say. This might have been his worst game of the season with throwing the 2 interceptions at home. Still gave you 15 fantasy points, but it wasn't enough, man. There's a Jack Doyle who did absolutely nothing. Isaiah Crowell, after 2, pretty impressive weeks, they didn't do anything as an offense against New England
at all,
and that kind of resulted in 4 points. You would think that maybe if he didn't do anything, then Duke Johnson would have got the better of the workload. Duke Johnson did just about the same. It was just bad. A.J. Green, surprisingly quiet against that Dallas defense is not that good. And in a game where Tom Brady comes back and dominates, one of his favorite targets, Julian Edelman, he gave you what? It looks like 6 fantasy points. That's not what you expect, man, especially in PPR. But those tight ends last week were off the chain.
Yeah, Chris Hogan is taking all of Edelman's targets. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know.
Well, I'm hearing that Chris Hogan is like a deep threat. Edelman used to be like the short PPR guy, and he's not even getting that many catches. That's kind of it's upsetting. If I was the one who drafted Edelman, I'd be upset. All right, moving on to our next matchup.
Don't worry. I got to say this here, though. Yo Bebo Fortiman, brother, you are going to win this league. You are Paki approved. All right. He knows why I said that. You can keep going.
I'm glad he knows. I have no idea what the hell just happened
because he says I'm a jinx whenever I choose somebody. So I told him, all right, if I'm a jinx, I'm choosing you to win the league. And he's like, ah, shit, man, you ruined it. So
sorry, Regis. You just got a kiss of death right there from Paki.
Just got to make it official, man. I got you winning the league.
All right, so OBJ Cobb Salad versus Brady's Girly Men. Did you pick against Brady Girly Men on this one?
No, I did not, man. That was one of the ones I got correct. Are you crazy? To me, Brady's Girly Men is one of the most complete teams. But I'll start off with OBJ Cobb Salad. Sam Bradford, bold move to start him. He hasn't been very fancy in fantasy, but 18 points is it's not bad. Out of that, and Sammy Coates. I got to give you all the credit for starting Sammy Coates. Those are one of the moves that seem kind of crazy. They just paid out. I have no idea how you predicted he was going to get so many points. He got you 28.9. But outside of that, again, he starts Jeremy Hill. He benches Gio Bernard. Gio Bernard outscores. He doesn't start them both. And he got no production out of anybody else besides Sammy Coates, Sam Bradford, and Odell Beckham that gave him a good 14 points. Pretty weak overall performance from his entire team. It'll probably be better in the future weeks. I mean, I'm sure he'll do better than 102. He's better than that. But, man, you got to – I mean, he already traded – yeah, because the talent is there on that team. But he already traded Giovanni Bernard. So now you're stuck with Jeremy Hill. So now you got that out of your way because he clearly never started both of them. That's what you should have been doing from the beginning.
Note to Paki, he traded both since he backs.
Oh, my God. He traded both of them? I thought he only traded one of them. So disappointing. All right, man. That's how you lose fantasies. Whatever, man.
Well, big ups to Odell Beckham getting it together, man, after the week he had and getting his first touchdown. On the Brady's Girly Men side of the board, welcome back Tom Brady. He was clawing and scratching. He just barely missed 30 fantasy points. Sorry, this microphone is way too close to my mouth. Okay, so 29.6 fantasy points in the comeback game for Tom Brady. If there was ever a game you wanted to come back in, it's against the Cleveland Browns. He just ran all over them. 3 touchdowns thrown to Martellus Bennett, over 100 yards to Rob Gronkowski. Todd Gurley. I didn't see this game, but 14 fantasy points is pretty decent score. You just check his game log. 23 carries, 72 yards is not amazing, but you get a touchdown, so double digits there. C.J. Anderson had a quiet game against Atlanta. Atlanta wasn't supposed to have such a dominant defense, man, and they pretty much shut out Denver. And, to your point, he is the starting running back on the team with a backup quarterback. How did he fare, Paki?
All right, well, he didn't do very good, but...
Well, every rule has an exception is what you want to say, right, Paki?
No,
That's what I thought, Paki. Okay, moving on. Marvin Jones, he's playing with some sort of injury. It keeps moving. It was a foot one day. It was a back another day. Right now, he's not listed as questionable. I don't know if he totally healed. 11 fantasy points. He wasn't really the story this week. We'll get to who the story was in one of the other reviews. You started Quincy Enunwa. I'm not crazy about him. He didn't do great. He had the opportunity given that Eric Decker wasn't playing, but it's just not looking like a really great or diverse offense. Something about Ryan Fitzpatrick getting paid and wearing green. He's starting to look like Mark Sanchez. Delaney Walker. All right, well, you got your tight end back. That's good.
Man, he a beast. He was a beast, man.
I mean, I saw a catch in traffic that looked pretty good.
That guy's awesome.
But remember, they were playing against Miami.
Doesn't matter. The things he did, man, he's pretty good. He is. It
was a pretty impressive catch, man. Hunter Henry, who you left on the bench, is a pretty decent tight end as well. I don't know. Well, he got 14 fantasy points on your bench. You're still carrying Antonio Gates. I don't know why you have that many tight ends if you're not ever going to start any of them in flex. That's neither here nor there. This one was a wrap. It looked like OBJ came out, smashed through the gates. It took Brady a little bit to warm up, but by the second quarter, man, of the first 1 hour, 1 o'clock games, it was pretty much over. So, anything else to say about this matchup?
The only reason why the C.J. Anderson thing didn't pay out with the backup quarterback is because nobody in the world expected Atlanta to go up so quick on Denver, the way they did. That was extremely unexpected. That ruins the running game. You're supposed to control the clock. He only got 11 attempts. That's not an exception to the rule. That's just something that doesn't normally happen. Yeah, man.
Excuses. All right. So next we got the Gotham City Rogues versus, I don't even know what Victor's team is. I'm just going to call it Victor's team. Right now it's Hogan's Heroes. Last week, I forget what the heck it was called. Anyway, so what did Gotham City Rogues give us last week?
Hold on. I think I got the name for last week. He had... Nope,
doesn't matter.
I don't have it here. The point is, Gotham City, man, hard loss because Brian Hoyer did pretty good. Le'Veon Bell didn't have all the rushing yards, but he got the receiving yards, almost 20 fantasy points. I like that. DeAndre Washington, the Raiders' backup running back who had the starting role, I was expecting a lot more from him. That was a disappointing performance, especially since Jalen Richard, the other running back, looked a lot better than him. But doesn't mean that he's bad. It was just underperformed 1 week. Jordy Nelson gave you 11.8 fantasy points. I would have expected a lot more. I don't know what's going on with the Green Bay offense. It's just not performing at the level people expected. Eddie Lacy ain't doing much. Aaron Rodgers ain't doing much. Jordy Nelson ain't doing much. Randall Cobb had a good week, but he is not doing much overall in the week. So it's a pretty hard to predict Green Bay offense right now. Kelvin Benjamin was pretty good with 9.5 points. I would have expected more against Tampa, but he did have Derek Anderson throwing to him. That's kind of hard for you to, expect a lot from a number one receiver with a backup quarterback. Overall, man, I think this team is very well built. Just had a bad week. But when I mean a bad week, a bad matchup, because Hogan's Heroes got 140 points.
Okay, yeah, I'll accept the bad matchup, but 124 points is anywhere from a bad week, man.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They had a bad week by a bad matchup. It's just unfortunate.
By virtue of who they were playing against.
Yeah,
okay,
it's unfortunate.
Just curious, what do you mean when you say Jordy Nelson isn't doing much?
Fantasy-wise, by now, we expected Jordy Nelson to be lighting up the scoreboard. And last week he got 25 points. That's good. But
so
besides
the scoreboard is like when you score touchdowns, because he has a touchdown in every game so far.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I expected more from him. Maybe it's because he was on bye last week. I don't know. But
he was on bye last week and he has 5 touchdowns.
11 points versus the Giants at home is not what I would be expecting from Jordy Nelson. I was expecting another big performance.
There's only so much you can do, man. This was probably Aaron Rodgers' worst game.
Destroyed at the defensive back position. This was a game that I would expect Jordy Nelson to literally just take over it, and he didn't. So I don't like that.
You don't like that?
I don't like that.
All right, well, on the other side, it was just utter domination, man. First of all, I want to mention both kickers in both of these matchups. They both have 12 points. Jameis Winston, 14 points. That's pretty much his average. LaShawn McCoy, pretty much his average as well, 16 points. He did not score a touchdown this week, but he did have 150 yards on 18 attempts. Jordan Howard. I almost said Crawford. Jordan Howard is a beast. Man, this dude is lighting it up. Do you think that Jeremy Langford gets his job back when he returns?
Nope. Jeremy Langford was not even – he was kind of like Lamar Miller. He wasn't getting that many yards per touches. He was just getting a lot of touches because he was the only guy. But Jordan Howard clearly will keep this job after Langford returns.
118 yards, 24 fantasy points. Throw in that he got a couple of catches here and there to bump up his PPR value. Jordan Howard killed. Julio Jones, man. Was it last week that he had that record performance?
Yep.
Yeah, last week after 300 yards, he responds with 29 yards on 2 catches. Dude, what a roller coaster with Julio Jones, man.
I'm expecting he's going to kill Seattle then. No, what you call it? I forgot Seattle's stadium. Shoot. Whatever. He's going to Seattle. You'd expect it to be a bad matchup, but the way it's going, it's like a good matchup, a bad matchup. Man. A good matchup, a bad matchup. So he's supposed to have a good matchup this week, I guess, then.
T.Y. Hilton, man, for as much as I don't like him, what a fantasy beast, man. What a beast in general.
See,
I mean,
that's what I'm talking about. That's a fantasy wide receiver performer right there.
The record for this team is nothing to write home about. He gradually built up there, but in the last week he has 3 double-digit performance, one game with 27 points, one game with 28 points. Granted, those 2 games were against San Diego and Chicago, but he took advantage of his matchups, and he just killed. I have this notion where T.Y. Hilton is this dude who would break through the pack. He was the fastest dude all the way at the end. You would throw him the ball right to his hand as he would drop it. I don't know why that notion sticks with me, man, but that's how I remember T.Y. Hilton. That's why I can't get over, but
you're crazy.
He's slowly winning me over. I don't understand what the big, hubbub, the big hoopla is about Zach Ertz. This guy, for all the talk they do about him, everything they say about him being this good, I just don't see it. And, another just mediocre performance. I understand that for the most part, the Eagles were playing from behind and they were trying to, hit the long pass to win the game. As a matter of fact, they were forced by a fumble to throw long, and that produced Carson Wentz's first interception of the year. But that's neither here nor there for this matchup. The defense, you had one player in double digits. Everything else was kind of on par with what you would expect. Devontae Parker, man, I don't know what to think about him. He's on Miami. He's playing with Tannehill. You can pretty much dump him.
Yeah, I was one of the ones that hated Devontae Parker a lot personally, but he's been doing pretty good this season for what was expected.
All right, well, the next matchup is the Real City Butterflies. They played against FU Ben Affleck this week. Tell me what the team that you picked, the Real City Butterflies, what did they do?
I mean, if you look at the first 2 guys, Rivers and Elliott, you're like, all right, man, this guy should have won this matchup. Rivers, damn, that beard looks so good, man. I should get a beard
How
of my own.
ridiculous. For everybody watching on video, how ridiculous is this mug, man? This thing is enormous.
I like it. I like it, man.
Compare the thing to my face. It's almost bigger than my head.
It is. I'm so jealous. Anyways, Rivers and Elliott, 25 and 30 points. They pretty much compiled almost half the points of this team. After that, Jay Yahi, that's... God, man, it makes me sick. I mean, I know he doesn't have anything else to start, but that running back just makes me sick. I wouldn't even own him.
Scored a touchdown.
Yeah, but he's bad anyways. I mean, I like to see the games. I like to see the players. And sometimes bad players produce. Well, he only gave you 10 fantasy points, which is not even that great for a running back. But when you see the games, it's like, God, he sucks. Jay Ajayi's one of those. Demaryius Thomas was a surprise.
Yeah, make it
what were you going to say? No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, make your point. Now I'll talk when it's my turn.
All right, Demaryius Thomas. Well, it's all right. It's not my turn. Demaryius Thomas had a good week. I would expect had a good week because it's 13 points. I expected more versus Atlanta, but then again, it was Paxton Lynch. He couldn't get the ball downfield. There was some struggling. Trevor Seaman should be back tomorrow on Thursday Night Football. And besides that, there was a little bit of bad luck involved. Steve Smith is out, and he's probably not even going to play this week. Kyle Rudolph didn't do much, which is acceptable because, I mean, he's been killing it every week. So for a tight end, he has given up great numbers. So a bad week was expected by now. Besides that, man, this was the Rivers and Elliott show. Man, was Ezekiel Elliott awesome this week. I was one of the guys that doubted him because I don't trust rookie running backs. Boy, was I wrong. This guy's legit, man.
Well, for whoever's keeping score at home, the rookies, they're doing great. With the exception of Jared Goff, who hasn't made the field yet, just about all the rookies are doing great. Even Derrick Henry, who he hasn't had a fantasy impact, but for whatever the reason, man, I keep hearing these reports that he's killing in practice. If he ever makes it to the field, man, if ever DeMarco Murray kind of slips a little bit, slumps, or if he has to come in and, do some kind of substitution because of an injury, watch out for Derrick Henry. He's playing great. Well, he's practicing great. Over on the FU Ben Affleck side, Derek Anderson, what the hell happened there?
All right, wait,
I understand.
He has Cam Newton. He just went with the easy replacement. That's what happened.
I guess so. It really wouldn't have mattered, though. You won by so many points that you could have got a 0 from him and still taken this one.
You could have started Cam.
Poor game by Frank Gore against Chicago, but you gotta handle Frank Gore with kid gloves. I mean, he barely missed out on double digits the first week, double digits against Denver, San Diego, and Jacksonville, and then 8 points, 75 yards. Probably would have been capped by a touchdown, but his team won, so it really didn't matter. The story here is Theo Riddick. Was it 2 catching touchdowns by this man?
Theo Riddick was a beast, man, and yeah, man, it's all about the catches with him. I mean, all he got was 49 yards on the ground, which was pretty good for what he normally does, to be honest. But where he really made the money was on his catches, as he always does.
It was all the work, man. He got all the work. He got all the touchdowns. The receivers didn't really figure much this week. We'll talk about one of the receivers a little later on. But he was the story in Detroit this week. Brandon Marshall doing Brandon Marshall things, just ripping a ball away from fools, just take a ball from fools. Just throw it up there and watch Brandon Marshall get to work. Larry Fitz doing Larry Fitz thing. You started the Sunday games with a 23-point lead because Larry Fitzgerald played so well. Greg Olsen played pretty well. How does Greg Olsen end up with 22 fantasy points, 101 yards on 9 catches, and Derek Anderson only gives you 4 points? Did he throw the ball away that much?
Yeah, he did. He had a couple of interceptions.
2 interceptions and a fumble. That's not great.
Nope.
I think he's still carrying that Browns in him. Anyway, that's pretty much everything that you needed to get. You got 20-plus points from all of your pass catchers. You can't complain about that. Your flex didn't get 20, but does it really matter? Those 4 players alone got you 90-plus points. That's going to be good enough for you to win this week. A total of 153 points. Oh, wait, hold on. Not only did you get 20-plus points from all your pass catchers, you got 23 points from Adam Vinatieri, your kicker.
Yep. Which makes up for the quarterback. That makes up for the quarterback.
Yeah, it's like they switched sides. Like almost like they switched positions.
Mm-hmm.
23 points. What a beast. Wow.
It's hard to lose, man, when you got 20 points from your kicker.
So it looks like Adam Vinatieri has not missed a kick this week. Sorry, this season. He had 5 field goals this week and 2 extra points, a total of 23 fantasy points. There's an interesting theory floating out there. I heard Matthew Berry talking about it. Crap, should I be plugging other people's podcasts here? Anyway, so I heard him say, like, people should start playing without kickers. You can never predict what a kicker is going to do. You go through all this trouble of picking up the right waiver pickups and backing up the people that are injured and making all these moves, getting the perfect lineup, and then in the end you lose to a freaking kicker.
Just remove the kicker from fantasy at all, in general.
All together. Let's talk about Pimpin' Ain't Breezy versus Amari 2600. Man, this was a heartbreaker.
All right, so this was like a matchup between the Rams offense and what's the other worst offense?
I would say this
right
is
now?
like the Rams versus the Panthers.
Yeah, no, there has to be something worse than the Panthers right now on offense.
I
but
mean,
this
with
was
the number
horrible.
1 overall pick and the team that I have and the names that I have, the way that ESPN projects that I'm going to win this game by 30-plus points, even before I picked a quarterback to sub in for my bye week quarterbacks, and I still end up losing, and I only score 80-something points.
And screw the projections. I don't pay attention. I don't pay no mind to no projections. But
yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's just one of the many factors I mentioned here. Like, I'm projected every week to do what the Panthers of last year were supposed to do, carrying over to this year, and they don't do it. And then you got Amari 2600 winning every game, just kind of scratching and clawing, getting that lucky award and favorable matchup every week.
Yeah, he does. He's just lucky, man.
What the hell?
But you know what? That only works for regular season. Come playoff time, he's going to suffer the consequences. But going straight to the analysis of the recap, Paxton Lynch, bold move to start the rookie that, we saw a little bit from him the week before.
Dude,
but
I'm freaking kicking myself over that one. I mean, 10 points is not the worst performance on that roster, but I had a chance to pick Marcus Mariota, and I said, you know what?
Wow.
Let me give Lynch a chance against the supposedly poorest defense against quarterback in Atlanta. What the hell happened? I mean, I understand that if Atlanta goes up on you by so many points, you would do nothing but throw. And it's not like he was throwing the ball away, all willy-nilly. I mean, he got an interception, I believe.
What happened is that Atlanta seems to be the real deal, and nobody's paying mind to it. Everybody's ignoring the fact that Atlanta sucked last year, and they're not seeing that Atlanta seems to be for real overall. Their pass rush was insane. Vic Beasley was all over Paxton Lynch the entire game. So it's just a fact about us accepting that the Atlanta Falcons are actually a really good football team this year. I mean, on top of that, Eddie Lacy, Eddie Lacy's such a headache in fantasy because if you see the games, he consistently gets his 5 and 4 yards. He runs here and there. He gets his good yards. But he's not a guy that's going to give you the big explosive play ever. So unless they get to the end zone, he's not going to score you a touchdown. So fantasy-wise, he's such a headache. You never know what to predict. The only way he's good is if he's going to get 20 or 30 touches, and that offense is refusing to give the ball to the running back. Duke Johnson, well, we already talked about Cleveland and how disappointing they were against New England, so I'm not going to get much into that. And, well, I was hearing one of the podcasts, I don't remember which one it was, but there's a theory around there, it's a joke, obviously, that Brian Hoyer has something against Alshon Jeffrey because he just doesn't throw him the ball as much as he throws to everybody else. And 10 points is good, but it's not what you would expect from your number one receiver. The Bears' number one receiver.
A number one receiver.
Yeah, a number one receiver versus the Colts, which are probably the second worst defense. Well, the third, because the Saints and the Raiders are horrible. But Indianapolis is right there with those two.
Don't forget Miami.
Yeah, but Miami's pretty bad too. But Miami, the
Jets are getting burned.
Yeah, but the ones I mentioned are worse. Defensively are worse because Miami's overall and the Jets are overall.
Bottom five defense.
Yeah, they're definitely horrible. I would expect more. And Will Fuller versus Minnesota, that's a bold move. I don't know if you had anything else to sub. I'm not even going to look into the bench, but you can't expect much. You can't expect much of anybody playing Minnesota, especially if it's a speedster, because Minnesota has speed. So speedsters are not going to get points against Minnesota, apparently.
Yeah, but really, one catch?
I mean, you just can't get open.
Catch?
It's hard to get open versus those guys. Those guys are extremely fast. Dude, I invite you to look.
At some point, we're going to talk about Brock Osweiler. Maybe not, during today's podcast, but he's not good.
Well, wow.
He is not good.
Some thunder.
He looks so lost, and he's looking like he just... You talk about Tannehill, and maybe it's because you've seen more of Tannehill, but this guy's just holding on to the ball way too long. Man, just fling it. Fling it and trust your receivers. Last year, DeAndre Hopkins, he was quarterback-proof. It didn't matter who the hell was throwing him the ball. He would catch everything. And this year, he's giving you, like, all these pitiful performance. And it's not that he's in a slump. Like, he didn't suddenly forget how to catch. It's just the quarterback isn't throwing the ball right. He's holding on way too long.
Osweiler got to get his thing together. I agree. But moving on to the other side, man.
Is that everything you had to say about my team?
Yeah, man. You just had a bunch of bad starts. It was a bad week.
And then this team just they overachieve like they do every week. It came down to Monday Night Football, and what was Fozzie Whitaker going to do? Well, not a whole lot of nothing except, just enough to beat my team. There's nothing really to talk about on this team except for Amari Cooper. It looks like the Raiders are kind of like taking turns, whether it be with the running backs or, in this case, with the receivers. It was like 30 points. And, man, go figure, like 2 weeks in a row. Last week I played against Michael Crabtree. Killed me. 20-plus points. And then this week I play against Amari Cooper, and they decide, you know what? Let's feed this dog today. And they throw everything to Amari Cooper. 24 fantasy points. 6 catches, 138 yards, and a touchdown. 138 yards, man. This is crazy.
Are you playing a Raider this week?
I'll never do that again this week.
Are you playing a Raider this week?
Me?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I hope you are.
Well, playing against the Raider, you mean? So that the Raiders win overall?
Yeah. Are you playing against the Raider?
We're gonna do some previews, so we'll check. Let's move on from this. There wasn't much to see here. It was just pretty pedestrian. You decided to start Kenneth Dixon, who I said last week they were going to ease him in to the offense. I don't know if there was another option there. Actually, there wasn't really another option. That was all you really had, but they eased him in a little bit too slowly. I swore that without Allen Robinson, I was going to have some kind of advantage, but mother effing Amari Cooper just killed it for me. Terrell Pryor had a dip from what he's been doing the last few weeks, but, you know, New England came to prove a point, especially after getting shut out. Dennis Pitta, average Dennis Pitta game. D'Angelo Williams, I expected more than a 0. I think I actually saw him get the ball. He probably got tackled at the line of scrimmage, but nothing happened in there. Defense is just, you know, whatever your defense is, nothing to write home about. And you got 7 points from Blair Walsh, while I only got 3 from Dustin Hopkins. You didn't mention anything about my kickers, man, and that's fine. I understand why you wouldn't. But Dustin Hopkins got 3 games of double digits until I picked him up, and then I got an 8 and a 3. A freaking 3.
That, man.
Give me that 8 and I win this week. I got 3.
Regarding Kenneth Dixon, they already fired Mark Trestman, the offensive coordinator, so it'll be intriguing to see what's going to happen on that part. On the Ravens offense, I'm expecting to see a lot more of Kenneth Dixon in the upcoming weeks.
3.
I'm sorry, man. I don't know what else to tell you.
Michael's Neverlandry Ranch versus the EMCC Brawlers.
Yes,
I thought the crippled quarterback was actually going to beat you this week, but I guess not.
I feel offended because that team is pretty weak, man. They're missing a whole bunch of pieces, and on my side, I got Carson Wentz, who I'm very happy I got to pick him out of free agency before he was a waiver priority. David Johnson smoked San Francisco, which was what I was expecting with a backup there. That was a great job. I know it was easy in hindsight to say you should have started Artis Payne or you should have started Matt Asiata, who had great weeks over Bobby Rainey. But I honestly started Bobby Rainey expecting him to give me 8 to 10 points with since it's PPR. And that's exactly what gave me 10 points. Overall, I think this is one of the best weeks I've had, not because of the score, but because of the players. They gave me more or less what I was expecting from them this week, so my predictions were kind of on point for my team. The only one that I was expecting a little bit more from was Carson Wentz. If it wasn't because of that last-second interception to end the game, he would have been at 18.9. That would have been a little bit more realistic of what I was expecting. And my IDPs didn't give me as much as I expected also. But on offense, I'm satisfied.
I don't blame you for not starting Matt Asiata. No one should ever start Matt Asiata. He is not good. I don't know about Robert Woods, though. That was kind of a ballsy call. You could have substituted him and put anyone else from your bench. You left 54 points on the bench. It didn't matter. You won this game. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say it was by a landslide, but by enough points. Ben Roethlisberger doing what Ben Roethlisberger does. DeMarco Murray having a DeMarco Murray game, 28 and 16 points respectively. Matt Jones was quiet. Second week in a row that Deshaun Jackson is quiet. Terrence Williams, I saw that game, for some time. No touchdowns here, but 5 catches and 70 points. And I don't know if anyone started him, so I don't think we're going to get a chance to talk about. Actually, no, you had him, but you didn't start him. Dak Prescott looked pretty good, man.
Yeah.
He was spreading the ball around. I think he got a touchdown on his legs. He looked pretty good. Welcome back to Fantasy Rob Gronkowski. He did not get a touchdown, but 109 yards. And did you see him breaking tackles, man?
I was about to say that. My
man looked good. You couldn't touch him.
He looked good. He was just
the meathead is back.
He was just balling people just across the field.
The Gronk or not.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Stills. What the hell, man?
Man,
it's Kenny Stills.
He's a Dolphin fan. Just let it go.
Okay. Own him and put him on your bench just so you say you have a Dolphin, but don't start him. But then when he doesn't start him, he scores a touchdown. So it's a weird conundrum you have there, Omar, but own them and don't start them, or just don't drop them all together. Regular, just average from your IDPs. Kickers didn't make a difference here, 6 points to 1. And it is what it is, man. You won. So enough of the reviews. Let's talk previews.
While we get to the previews, I want to say briefly that I was 0-4. Now I am 1-4, and I am tied with 3 other teams at 1-4. So there you go for all you people that were bullying me. I'm not the only one now that's in the bottom, all right? And from here on, I should go up, so whatever.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
That's right.
Well, we're still at the bottom. We're just tied at the bottom. All right, so first matchup we're going to go over is the 4-1 So Loyal Action Boss going up against, wait, there's a new name here. New name alert. For Whom the Le'Veon Bell Tolls. Debuting here on the podcast. This is Dago's team, formerly known as the Gotham City Rogues.
Finally.
It was about time for a facelift.
Finally.
For Whom the Le'Veon Bell Tolls.
If it was up to me, teams should change their name every week. It's just nice to see it, man. It's refreshing. I love it. It's fun.
Well, this is obviously a nod to, is it Metallica?
I think so.
I'm not sure. Metallica. I'm just testing you. Damn, you suck.
I'm not sure. I'm not
Whatever.
sure.
Tell me how much better So Loyal Action Boss is than For Whom Le'Veon Bell Tolls.
I gotta say, though, I'm gonna tell you straight up, man. Since we're in the reviews, we gotta start saying the picks, and I actually got Gotham City Rogues in this matchup. I like So Loyal Action Boss's team overall, but having Mike Evans on a bye, having Eric Kendricks, which has been a great defensive player on a bye, which he's gonna have to pick up a substitute for, by the way, and he has not, are gonna hurt him a little bit. Derek Carr versus Kansas City, I like that, but there's a problem. Both of his running backs, Melvin Gordon's going up against Denver, Tevin Coleman against Seattle at Seattle. Those are some...
Going up against Denver on Thursday night, by the way, coming off a loss.
And I know Denver has been pretty welcoming to running backs. They haven't stopped that much of the running backs, fantasy-wise. But it's a Thursday night football, and I'm just... Melvin Gordon gets a lot of fumbles. Denver is very aggressive.
You say that like it's a stat. He gets a lot of fumbles.
He gets a lot of fumbles. He's been fumbling every week. Let me pull it up real quick. Okay, I don't have it here, so it doesn't matter. But he has been fumbling every week in a very embarrassing manner. So I don't know, man. I just don't see any production from the running backs, and he's probably gonna have to start Victor Cruz against Baltimore, who has been great defensively. I just don't see much from So Loyal to win this matchup. I'm sorry, man. I really wish I was able to pick you, but I don't. The matchups are very painful this week, and the bye is going to hurt you.
I thought you were going to mention why are you still holding on to Josh Gordon?
I don't even want to get into that. I don't get it. Because I assume he's going to drop him for a DP now, for a defensive player.
I mean, he has Ryan Shazier.
He's not going to play. He's going to be out till week 8.
Ouch. So maybe he's droppable too.
Yep.
What is it, week 6? Week 5?
Week 6.
Week 6. I don't know. Well, on the other side, we have a full lineup for Whom the Le'Veon Bell Tolls. I think, you know what, just to keep it interesting, I think I'm going to go with So Loyal Action Boss because he just finds a way to win every week. We have Brian Hoyer going up against Jacksonville. That seems pretty favorable. Le'Veon Bell is going to run circles around Miami. Listen, I read something this week. I read it from Omar, who's a diehard Dolphins fan, and I couldn't believe he said that. He actually said that the D-line sucks. I thought there was a problem with the offensive line, but maybe it was a typo. I don't know. But the D-line sucks. They have no way to stop the run, and there we go. Enter Le'Veon Bell, going to run all over them. T.A. Yeldon has a favorable matchup against Chicago. Jordy Nelson has a favorable matchup against Dallas. Kelvin Benjamin against New Orleans. Man, I don't know so much about Action Boss and having poor lineups, poor matchups, but everyone here seems favorable. Zach Miller, Cameron Meredith, both against Jacksonville.
Yeah, the toughest defense on that side is Dallas.
This is the week, man, that you should just clean up. Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to be taking For Whom the Le'Veon Bell Tolls this week.
You have to. There's no way you can go against that team this week.
All right, the next matchup, and let's keep it moving, is going to be Hogan's Heroes. This is this week's version of Victor's team. He's playing against Jovebo Fortimal C-. The 4-1 Hogan Heroes playing against the 3-2 Jovebo Fortimal. Hogan's Heroes have won 3 in a row, while Jovebo Fortimal have lost 1. What can we expect from Hogan's Heroes?
Well, I have him here winning again, so I'm expecting him to have 4 in a row. I'm giving you the pick right away. He obviously doesn't have the starting lineup up, but he's going to start Hogan because he named his team after Chris Hogan. He's going to start Dak Prescott because Winston's going to bye. Ingram versus Carolina. Jordan Howard versus Jacksonville. Zach Ertz couldn't blow up any day because you said you don't see anything special out of Zach Ertz. Well, statistically, he hasn't done much. But if you see the games, the guy has a lot of talent. He makes crazy one-handed catches. It's just a matter of time before he blows up. So
crazy one-handed catches for 3 yards.
Well, it doesn't matter. It could be for a long pass. I mean, the talent is there. It's a matter of time.
He's a great blocker.
It's a matter of time. It will happen eventually. Who knows what week it'll be? And I like LaShawn McCoy.
He's so good that he's still holding on to Ebron, and now he picked up Julius Thomas.
San Francisco without Navarro Bowman, it's like a paper mache defense. So LaShawn McCoy should run all over them. So overall, man, excellent matchups for Hogan's Heroes. I'm going with him this week, man.
What do you make paper mache out of?
Out of newspaper. You know what?
Like dry newspaper?
No, wet newspaper. Wet newspaper has like a particular smell, right?
Like wet newspaper with glue, right?
Yeah.
You ever mix like water and glue?
Have you ever been with a girl that smells? Have you ever been with a girl that smells like wet newspaper?
Moving on. Joe Bebo Fortimar is going to be starting Aaron Rodgers. We know this. Matt Forte is playing against Arizona on Monday night. Ryan Matthews, I don't know what to tell you, man, about Ryan Matthews. It's like hit or miss with him. He was having a pretty decent game after a pretty sad game, and then he coughs up a fumble. I've never really believed in the talent of Ryan Matthews. You should be getting, I don't even know if I should say this, an improvement over last week on A.J. Green. Mm-hmm. He's playing against New England, man. New England's defense is tight. Julian Edelman, I don't think they can be as bad as they were last week. I did like what I saw, though, out of Vontaze Burfict. Even though he didn't get, like, all the tackles in the world, he was always around the ball. So if Julian Edelman gets the ball, expect him to get creamed by Burfict. Kobe Fleener, whatever with Kobe Fleener.
That's a star.
Isaiah Crowell against Tennessee. Actually, Tennessee is right now listed as the 5th best defense against the run.
Yeah, man, they've been very good.
Not a favorable matchup for Crowell. I don't even know if I want to start Duke Johnson. Your defense is what it is, and Gostkowski is a good kicker. 6 points. I mean, with Brady back, I don't think they're going to be kicking many field goals. It's going to be all about the touchdowns with them. So I got to say, man, this was my longtime rival and now my very good friend. Much respect to Joe Bebo Fortimar. Go eat at his restaurant, but this week I'm going with Hogan's Heroes to go 5-1.
We should give him a free shout-out at the end. All right,
give it to him right now.
Moving on. No, at the end is better. Moving on to the Real City Butterflies versus Pimpin' Ain't Breezy. That's you, man. I'm going with I'm gonna go with. I don't learn my lesson. I'm gonna go with Real City Butterflies this week again.
Oh man, you jerk!
I know he has Phillip Rivers versus Denver. I'm not very convinced on that matchup, but Ezekiel Elliott, Green Bay has allowed only. I saw a stat, only like 170 yards in 4 games rushing. So it's going to be a hell of a matchup for Ezekiel Elliott. What am I talking about? Why did I pick this guy? Jay Ajayi, he sucks.
Did you just want to troll me, you bastard?
Demaryius Thomas, all right, there you go. Demaryius Thomas and Doug Baldwin should put up some good numbers. Tyler Eifert, I don't know what he's starting there. I don't expect him to do much yet. Brandon Cooks should put up some good numbers versus Carolina's weak secondary. I don't know what I was thinking, man, but I'm gonna stick with him because I already have. That's what I wrote down, and I'm just gonna fuck with you. So yeah, man, I'm sticking with Real City Butterflies.
Well, good for you. This week I go up to 2-4. My roster is not totally reflected there. Hopefully by the time that game time comes around, I'll have the new updated roster. Made a few roster moves there.
Tell us
what
can
I
made.
tell you about my team, man?
But I think it already updated because I see you got Russell Wilson and everything, so you should have your.
I already had Russell Wilson. I'm trading Russell Wilson.
Oh, you're trading him out. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So the deal was I traded Russell Wilson and Latavius Murray. I get back both of the Cincy backs. So kind of the way that my roster is going to look is going to be Drew Brees, both Cincy backs, Antonio Brown. I wanted to start Will Fuller, but it looks like Will Fuller's dealing with a hamstring situation there. I'm going to start Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey, even though he was number 4 in targets last week, it looks like he complained. He got all up in Hoyer's face, and he's like, man, give me the damn ball. So I expect him to get the damn ball. I'm counting on C.J. Uzomah to play and not Tyler Eifert, so I don't know who's going to get the better there.
Interesting.
Ivan decided to start Tyler Eifert, and I may have to end up picking up a tight end last minute. The flex is probably going to be Eddie Lacy, and then what I have currently at DP is pretty much what I'm going to play. Perfect doesn't necessarily have the most favorable matchup because the two tight ends in New England, Gronk and Bennett, are really hard to tackle. But man, I love me some Perfect. This dude hits people hard.
Yeah,
and he's always around the ball, man. I told you, he just creams people.
He's an old school linebacker.
I hope that he gets a chance to just clobber Edelman, just hit him, knock him out of his shoes. And I don't mean any hate, man. I just hope he knocks him out of his shoes.
I would like to see that.
I don't have anyone on bye weeks. I did pick up the backup to Latavius Murray, Jalen Richard, and I picked up the backup to James Starks. Eddie Lacy did not finish last game due to a ankle injury. His coach did not deem it to be anything serious, but in the event that he's a no-go, I'm going to start James Starks for whatever production he can give me.
Nice. I think you should win this matchup, but I already stuck with Real City Butterflies. I read Tyler Eifert just now. He's not going to play this week. I don't know what he's going to do, man. Man, we got a bet going. Screw it. I'm changing it right now. I'm not going to take Real City Butterflies. I'm scratching that off right now. I'm taking you, man. Pimpin' ain't breezy. That team sucks.
The fourth matchup is Brady's Girly Men versus High the Blunt. Tell me a little bit about Brady's Girly Men.
All right, man. This, to me, to be honest, this is one of the best teams.
I'm going to drink this enormous beer while you talk.
I get thirsty every time I see you doing that, man. I think this is one of the better teams in our league this year, man. With Tom Brady back and Todd Gurley, who I thought he was going to be a lot worse because of his situation, but they found a way to get him the ball and get him producing. Jamal Charles is going to be back healthy. C.J. Anderson is going to keep getting a whole bunch of touches. So the running back part is really good there. At wide receiver, Marvin Jones
has been again in Jamal Charles.
No, but if he has Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson, Jamal Charles is not a bad flex option. He's going to get some touches because Charkandrick West is out. So I believe he will be a good complementary back to Spencer, where Andy Reid likes to use two backs, and Charkandrick West he's out. So he'll be a good flex. You got Marvin Jones.
Andy Reid likes to use two backs. You're probably the first person I've ever heard say that.
Oh yeah, man.
That may sound like breaking news.
What? Come on, man. He loves the running backs.
He loves running backs, but he doesn't split them. That's how LaShawn McCoy got that running title.
Well, he doesn't split
leans
him
on his horse, man.
He doesn't split the carries, but there's a receiver back, and they're playing Oakland, so there's going to be a shootout, man. So Jamal Charles is going to get a couple of screen passes. I know that for sure. So you also got Willie Snead versus Carolina. I expect big things from him. And like I said, Marvin Jones. So I really like Brady's Girly Men's team overall, and I definitely like him for this week as well. I got him here penciled in as a pick.
If my team can't get it together, because it looks great on paper, the team I'm most scared of is honestly Frankenstein's team, Victor's team, whatever he calls it any given week.
Hogan's Heroes.
This week, but who knows? Next week, though, or after that, rather, it's probably Brady's Girly Men and then whatever team Gary has. Gary's done some pretty incredible things with the 14th pick. I'm talking about hide the blunt this week. Andrew Luck going against Houston with no J.J. Watt. It looks like he has a little bit of time to get the ball to his favorite target, T.Y. Hilton. Andrew Luck, though, he's been sacked more than anyone this year. LeGarrette Blount still leading with a hip issue, playing against Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a no-joke run defense. They're not that impressive on the pass. It says they're ranked 18th, so they've allowed some running, but when you see them play, man, they're all over the ball. Carlos Hyde against Buffalo, that weak
That's
Rob
by the way,
Ryan
sorry
defense.
to interrupt you. That Cincinnati stat got inflated because of what Ezekiel Elliott did to them. So I think they'll get back from that.
Yeah, well, I can agree with that. I see how that happens. DeAndre Hopkins, my former, quarterback-proof touchdown machine, now reduced to just an average Joe. He is going against Indianapolis. This is a chance for him to get back on the board. Indianapolis, however, for as much as we think of them as an overall bad defense, they're pretty good against wide receivers. It shouldn't matter, though. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is that good, but Osweiler has to let go of the damn ball. Michael Crabtree, well, we had a good game from Amari Cooper last week, so maybe this is the chance for Crabtree. Then we have Martellus Bennett. Can he repeat from last week, or is it time for peak Gronk to come out? Martellus Bennett is listed as questionable. What's the situation with him here?
No, he's fine. He was just limited at practice, but he's fine.
Ankle listed, limited at practice. All right, he'll be fine. All right, and Jeremy Maclin, you're going to start against Oakland. Jeremy Maclin, as far as flex option goes, he's probably tops in terms of flex.
I agree.
Like, he probably should be one of the top receivers, but this is an embarrassment of riches almost to fall back and have Jeremy Maclin.
Especially versus Oakland this week.
I don't know if you should ride the hot hand or not. I know that Matt Ryan is playing up against Seattle. He's playing in Seattle. Whatever. Go with Andrew Luck. You know what? We got to keep this interesting. I'm going to pick hide the blunt this week. And if I lose, well, I lost. But I'm going with hide the blunt. Go Big Blue.
Awesome. All right, man. So we got something different there. All right. So moving on to the next one. Fuck you, Ben Affleck. Or better said, FIBA. I'm sorry. Versus OBJ Cobb Salad. FIBA's expecting to get Cam Newton back. Officially, he was cleared concussion protocol, so he'll be back. Frank Gore, I expect him to give his regular points as he always does. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but nothing too low. Theo Riddick, he's going to
points.
Yeah, Theo Riddick is facing a very strong Rams defense. He will get the bulk of the carries. It's just a matter of, is he going to score as much as he did last week? I don't expect him to. Brandon Marshall is going to face Arizona, who has been weaker than most of us expected, and Brandon Marshall is going to get a whole bunch of throws now. Doesn't matter if Quincy Enunwa or whatever. Eric Decker's out. Brandon Marshall is going to be the benefactor of that. And Greg Olsen versus New Orleans, I also love that matchup. I have Mr. FIBA as my pick for this week, man. I love that guy's offensive team, and I like the depth because he's had injuries. He keeps coming back. I like it.
Yeah, FIBA's winning this week. The 4-1 FU Ben Affleck going up against the 1-4 OBJ Cobb Salad. OBJ looking to turn it around. By the time most of you guys listen to the podcast, the trade should have been completed. I expect OBJ Cobb Salad to be starting Russell Wilson at quarterback, and likely Latavius Murray, depending on whether or not he's fully healed from his injury, even though I prefer Spencer Ware against Oakland rather than Latavius Murray against KC.
Yeah, Justin Forsett is a questionable one.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, yeah, he got signed, but I wouldn't expect him to play, the first week. Randall Cobb against Dallas is actually a better play, I would assume, than Eddie Royal, only if Randall Cobb is 100% back. Dallas is, well, actually, they're the 8th against wide receivers in points allowed, and Jacksonville is 24th. So I may have to eat my own crap on this one. Charles Clay or Cameron Braid. Well, Cameron Braid is on bye. Man, I don't even know. Your bye weeks kind of hurt you here too. Jarek McKinnon, Cameron Braid, and Sam Bradford. Probably your biggest loss there is Braid. I don't think too highly of McKinnon. I know Paki thinks otherwise. But it's gonna be interesting to see what the team looks like when the trade comes through. This this thing I'm looking at here is not the lineup that he's going to play on Sunday. So,
I still took FIBA. I don't care.
Yeah, even with that, I'm still taking FIBA as well. 5-1 for FIBA.
Copycat. Next one we got is EMCC Brawlers. Oh my God, do us a favor and change that name, bro. For real. Dog already did it.
Dude, change it for him.
Oh my God, no, I'm not gonna meddle with that. But I do have. Oh my God, I can't believe I have Amari 2600 winning this matchup. Because Amari 2600 has had such low scores. But he always gets the lowest score. I don't think it's going to be different this week. Ben Roethlisberger and DeMarco Murray are going to light it up for EMCC Brawlers. I don't expect anything else from anybody else. Matt Jones, Philly has been extremely underrated. Benny Logan and Fletcher Cox are, to me, the best defensive tackle duo right now in football. They are amazing. And so I don't expect Matt Jones to do much. Deshaun Jackson has been a complete bust the last couple of weeks. I have no idea what to expect from him anymore. I know he has some ankle and knee injuries, so that might be the reason. Terrence Williams, it's a Dallas Cowboy wide receiver on a Dallas Cowboy team that doesn't score many touchdowns through the air. I don't expect much from them either. Rob Gronk, oh wait. Gronk is Gronk. Gronk is Gronk. Gronk is good. I like Jimmy too.
Respect the Gronk.
I like Jimmy too, but I just don't see enough overall production out of this team to make them choose them as the winning team this week.
These are the last two teams that I lost to. I hate them both with a passion. Omar blew me out, and Amari 2600 just broke my heart. Whatever. This week, I'll save my pick for later. Right now, I'm looking at Amari 2600. Once again, he has 2 empty slots at receiver. He's basically streaming running backs. It's interesting. Some people stream kickers. Some people stream defense. Some people even stream quarterbacks. Amari 2600 is currently 4-1, and he's streaming running backs.
Yep.
So I don't know what to tell you about that. Joe Flacco is going up against the Giants. Man, the Ravens are a bad team. I just hope the Giants, they get a win. They need to go 3-2, man. I'm starting to feel sad for the Giants. I'll save that conversation for another day. Amari Cooper against KC is an all-right matchup. Allen Robinson against Chicago is a favorable matchup. I like that one. Dennis Pitta against the Giants. Again, like I've said many, many times, the Giants linebackers are probably the weakest part of the Giants. You know something? We tend to chase in our IDP league. We tend to chase the linebackers from any given team. I don't see anyone chasing like a Giants linebacker.
But it's been like that for like the last 7 years. The Giants simply just don't put linebackers there that can play. I mean, and now their starting linebacker wants to get into MMA, but that's just embarrassing.
Their starting middle linebacker wants to go into MMA, and it's not even like, one of the high build promotions. It's some, mom and pop kind of MMA promotion there, and not even make all that much money. What's going on with the Giants, man? Did they spend all their money on Olivier Vernon and Janoris Jenkins?
I don't know. But they have a tough schedule.
Anyway, I hope they get a win this week, man. It's about time to do so. Terrell Pryor against Tennessee. Tennessee is great against the run. They're just kind of, actually ninth against the pass. The defense is pretty good, man. And then Terrell Pryor, I don't know what to tell you, man. He might end up throwing some balls this week too. We don't even know who the quarterback is going to be in Cleveland. It's a very versatile player in a very bad situation, and I feel bad for him, and I feel bad for Hugh Jackson, man.
I think he's going to be the quarterback. I mean, their fourth stringer got knocked out, Charlie Whitehurst. I don't know what to say. But just a little note on that matchup. I am very intrigued to find out who is Marcus Peters going to cover. Is it going to be Amari Cooper or is it going to be Michael Crabtree? I think that'll be it's a very big determining factor to which one of the both receivers is going to have a big week, because Marcus Peters has been playing pretty good. But I don't know who he's going to cover.
Yeah. I don't think that Amari 2600 will pick up running backs off the wire. I mean, nobody was dropped of any mention, and there wasn't really anything left on waivers. Nonetheless, Fozzie Whitaker has a favorable opportunity. It'll come down to whether Jonathan Stewart is ready to come back against New Orleans or not. But I heard that Cameron Artis-Payne might not make the start, so Fozzie Whitaker is probably a decent start there. D'Angelo Williams against Miami. Maybe there comes a point where Le'Veon Bell just, gets 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they go like, man, rest up, and then you can kind of plug in D'Angelo Williams to get you a few points here and there. You said that the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens got fired, so maybe that's an opportunity for Kenneth Dixon.
Yeah.
Keep your eye, man, on last-minute news and whoever you decide to start. I still think it's not going to be good enough for you to beat the EMCC Brawlers. So this week I'm picking the Brawlers.
All right, man. I like it. We got different matchups there. The next one we got, the last and final one, if I'm not mistaken, is my matchup.
A Tribe Called Quent's at 1-4 versus Rainy Oriental Steelers at 2-1.
The troll namer, man. Let me just say straight off the bat, I love Carson Wentz, man. I was one of the ones that doubted this guy. I was like, in preseason, the short time he played, it was like, wow, did he look bad. But this guy is awesome, and the Redskins are bad.
You trashed the entire Eagles team, and they just got their first loss.
Yeah, I don't care, man. I love Carson Wentz. He's going against the Redskins. I'm expecting at least some good opportunity there. David Johnson is matchup proof. I'm happy I got Kristen Michael back. I didn't have him last week because of a bye. Still won. And surprise, surprise, as much as I hate on Ryan Tannehill and the Dolphins, I made a trade. I traded away Dak Prescott. I got Devontae Parker. So now I got both Miami wide receivers. And I'm actually a little bit optimistic about it because I expect Miami to be playing down from the get-go versus Pittsburgh. So they're going to be throwing a lot of balls. I don't care what Ryan Tannehill...
You made a trade?
Yeah, I did. I traded Dak Prescott for Devontae Parker. I don't care what Ryan Tannehill does as long as he throws a lot of footballs on Sunday when he's falling from behind against Pittsburgh from the beginning. So I'm hoping one of them two is going to have a big game, I'm hoping, because the Steelers secondary is not that big a deal anyways. And on the flex, I'll tell you guys straight up. I have Robert Woods on my flex, but if Rashad Jennings is going to play, I'm going to put Rashad Jennings. Or if Jonathan Stewart does not play, I'm going to put Cameron Artis-Payne versus New Orleans. So I'm just waiting until Sunday to see what's going to happen there on my flex. But overall, man, I'm feeling very optimistic about my matchup versus Rainy Oriental Steelers. I think that team sucks. And I got myself as a pick for winning this week, man.
Okie doke. It's sad for me to talk this way about another Giants fan, but Eli Manning is not the best option at fantasy. Respect to him as a NFL quarterback, as a 2-time Super Bowl winner, as, for a long time the one that was most mentioned in the Manning household, but Andy Dalton is a much better fantasy quarterback than Eli Manning. This week may not be the week to start Andy Dalton, but consider it going forward, man.
And Baltimore,
Lamar Miller.
Let me add to that real quick. Baltimore's defense is very good. The most they've allowed to a quarterback was 23 points, and that was to the Raiders.
Yep, 7th against the quarterback, while the Patriots that are going up against Andy Dalton are 14th. So in terms of matchup, you have actually a better matchup here. I just think, though, that the way that New England kind of dominates the ball, Andy Dalton may not be on the field as much. But he's safer, I have to say. Anyway, Lamar Miller going up against Indianapolis. He cannot be as bad as he was last week. I mean, last week was just bad. 20 yards. He has to do better than that. He doesn't have a touchdown all year. He came out with 106 yards, and I told you, I was like, man, I'm not really a believer. And I'm still not totally a believer. I'm not there yet, but he can't be as bad. Or maybe he can. Devontae Freeman does not have a favorable matchup against Seattle. Golden Tate, time to drop him. Tavon Austin, dude, neither of these receivers are any good. And you just lost Jordan Reed. I could keep talking about the rest of your team, but it would just make me sad. So I'm going to pick a Tribe Called Quince this week.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I agree. I mean, I'm definitely going to win this matchup. I told you I'm not losing another matchup for the rest of fantasy, so I feel bad for all the guys that are left that have not played me. So that pretty much sums up all the previews. That sums up the recap. That pretty much ends today's episode. But before we go into any closing arguments, I got to give out a shout-out to Chef Table, Joel Reyes, one of our fantasy owners here. Go visit his restaurant, man. Food Inc. Anybody in the DR that's listening in Santo Domingo, Avenida Rómulo Betancourt 387 in Bella Vista. This guy is a real chef, man. His food is great. He has
and if you're listening worldwide, man, whenever you decide to take a trip down to Santo Domingo, go visit, man. Support the family. I heard that he has some amazing burgers.
Amazing menu. Amazing menu. It's Food Inc., the name of the restaurant. He got the 70-30 burger, man. He got some pork flat belly stuff. I mean, he has a whole bunch of good food, man. I'm not even going to get into detail, man. But, man, his Instagram, food.inc, inc.rd. Follow it. You'll see the entire menu. I love it, man. I love it.
All right. Well, take us home, Paki. What do you think?
All right, man. That sums it up for today's episode. As I said, there's not much else to say. We covered up everything that we had to. Remember, guys, don't forget to favorite the podcast, Podomatic.com. Don't forget to follow our channel on YouTube. And please send us any suggestions, any comments through email, unofficialcommentators@gmail.com. Or you can just leave a comment in YouTube or Podomatic.com. So, as always, Jay, good luck to everybody in Week 6. Until next time.
See you Week 7.